Welcome, everybody. As usual, another somber podcast on just terrible tragedies that are happening in this world due to lack of safety. We bring a very sad story today about a child who was affected and changed his life forever. Today's topic is on radiated arachnoid containment. And this one company, I won't say their company's name, but they were not containing their radiated arachnoids, and one got loose. And the sad thing was there was children on a field trip. It's supposed to be safe, a field trip. They were at this company, and this radiated arachnoid got out and bit this poor, unsuspecting child. And it changed his DNA and his life forever. And, you know, just the chain of events that happened after that just really disrupted this person's whole plan and his whole future and his whole goals. I mean, his career, everything was different. Everything. I mean, it affected his DNA. His body changed.
Where you going with this? There's no downside to this story, like, at all. Did you hear? Actually, there was a story in the news of a bunch of kids. There's 3 boys got together, caught a black widow.
Okay.
Had to bite each of them to get superpowers.
They did it on purpose?
Yeah.
The venom in a black widow is
pretty
acetylcholine, which is a neurotransmitter. Should have just caused, like,
they all got
adrenaline rush and
hospitalized. It was
seizures.
bad. Yeah, it wasn't good.
I got bit by 2 male black widows as a kid growing up in the desert.
Oof.
Not the female ones, though.
Big old bulgy ladies.
Yeah, so one was on a hand, one was on a foot. I just swelled up and got sick.
Well, yeah.
I also had a tarantula on my foot as a kid walking home from school.
Like, you were just walking, and the tarantula was like, "Hi, Aaron."
Yeah, I was cutting through desert, and just looked down at my foot, and there was this, like, orange and brown, hairy, big spider on my foot.
What's a good place for me to say, welcome to another podcast, everybody, of the
Arachnophobia.
No, not happening. Arachnophobia, guys. I actually don't mind spiders. I've held pet tarantulas and stuff. They're pretty sweet.
I had a terrible fear of spiders growing up because I had a bad experience.
Oh, man. I always dug the spiders in the neighborhood.
Before I got bit by 2 black widows, I had a bad experience with a female black widow.
Oh, yeah.
You just open up a can of worms when you start saying
you?
black widow. No, I was a little kid, and I went out on our back porch, Southern California, and we had this kind of awning, and I turned around, and one came down from the awning and was dangling right in front of my face with the hourglass, and it was, super creepy, like Batman experience, like the traumatization. I didn't fall down a well, but I still got traumatized. It was scary, man. And so then I had to overcome that fear because I realized it was a problem for me. So then I became a black widow hunter. I started off with shooting them long range with BB guns because I was too scared to get close. I could only kill them. Because at night in Southern California, you could go out at night and find 6 or 7. Any night of the week.
So you were like,
they were everywhere. This is the desert. This is the desert. This is where they love these dry desert climates. And then I got, where I could kill them with a stick and then a rock and then eventually like step on them. And then they still creep me out, but
I used to catch these giant. We had these massive orb weaver garden spiders.
Oh, cool!
Huge. I mean, like palm-sized. With the big, spindly, creepy
legs. Orb spiders.
Yeah, we used to catch them, play with them, and stuff. Like they were super cool. Like I guess I've always dug spiders.
Well, you're cool. For the rest of us in the world, they're terrifying.
I don't know.
But anyway, we are the evil safety dudes.
We had an opportunity earlier. We blew it.
Try to get us back on track. And our real podcast is on all things safety, how not to die at work. And we are doing a tertiary episode.
We'll do a part 3.
A part 3 on becoming a safety professional. It's not a single topic like lockout, tagout, machine guarding, fall protection. It's about the job itself.
That's right. Yeah. We are a wealth of knowledge. We're going to go ahead and just give you all of these wonderful
We are Fort
things.
Knox knowledge.
Well, I don't know. You can't get stuff out of Fort Knox.
Okay.
We're like we're like, I don't know, like
But
a
there's
soup
wealth
kitchen.
in
We're
for-
like a soup kitchen of knowledge. Here's a bunch of free knowledge.
Here's a bunch of
Enjoy it. It's delicious.
food without salt.
I don't know. I think.
Okay.
It's
All
good
right.
stuff.
Anyway, so we're gonna drop some knowledge.
Well,
Quiet Cap's gonna teach stuff. Quiet Cap's gonna teach stuff.
I'm joined in the IBC podcast Fort studio with Mr. Aaron Iacino.
I don't think we introduced ourselves on the last episode.
No, we totally skipped it.
We got to really read this paper a little better.
He's our director of risk management at IBC. He's been doing safety
I
and
direct
risk
the
management.
risks. I make sure there's plenty of them
For a
and
long
lots
time.
and bad ones. I make sure there's lots
Yeah.
of risks everywhere. I direct the risks. I'm like, you're very severe. Go over there. You're not severe. Go stand in the back. You're
I
not
like
cool.
it. That's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
I got a kick out of
I
that one.
direct risks. But I'm joined by Mr. AJ Hanscom. And what would be an appropriate way to introduce you today on becoming a safety professional? Well, in part one, I just said he is a safety professional. Yeah, he has letters behind his name. He has experience.
I'm louder than most people.
He has certifications.
Yeah.
And a lot of the stuff that we're going through, he has got to do firsthand and be a part of. So, yeah, this becoming a safety professional, how often do they teach this? When you go to a master's program in safety, do they go through this stuff, or is it just education on the topics?
I think, they've got to, depending
I
on
sure
who
hope
your
so.
instructor
We
is
ought
and
to
course
ask some of our
material.
friends with masters
Yeah.
if they gave them much knowledge or if they actually taught them how to do the job.
Even when, I don't know how long it's been for you, but I just did my OSHA 500 series. Wow, I can't believe it's been
3
that long.
years ago, at
My
least.
goodness, yeah. So I did my OSHA 500 series over 3 years ago, and they do cover some of this stuff. Like, depending on your instructor, depending on who you get, your 500, your 501.
What did they cover?
Some of it they talked
I'm
about.
dubious about that.
Yeah, they talked about how to, talk to adults and how to correct adults.
Really?
Yeah, and they
You
were
must have got the guy who likes to teach on different generations.
yeah.
Okay.
I think you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
he's a
Yeah,
good
but
guy.
that's more generational stuff than
Yeah.
I think he tries to make it apply, but that's his hobby. So he just wants to talk about the generation. So he
Yeah.
tries to put it into safety
So
professionals.
that
like,
it kind of
well, this is how you would talk to a millennial versus an X versus a boomer.
Right, and that.
Yeah.
It was something though. It was better than just.
It was
being like,
entertaining.
Here's OSHA regs.
Yeah,
you
it was
know?
entertaining.
He gave you food.
I don't
for
know if it
thought.
helped me do my job any better.
It gives you stuff to think about.
That's cool.
You know.
Should we do an episode on that? How to, part 4, how to be a safety professional for
Each
Y,
generation.
Z, millennial, X, boomer.
Right. I don't know.
Nah.
I'm pass.
All right. We'll bring that guy in as a guest speaker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he could talk about it. All right, but anyway, I'm lost now. Totally lost what we're doing here.
Well, we introduced each other.
Okay,
And
so
it's
that's
been
good.
a good time.
Yeah, and
I usually like to find out how you've been since I haven't talked to you for a little bit. So
Okay.
How have you been?
Not too well. I had some allergy issue for a week,
Oh, my allergies have been killing me for weeks.
and it just drained me.
Oh,
I didn't have
it's exhausting.
a lot of symptoms,
Sure.
runny nose, sneezing, stuff like that. But the fatigue was real,
Oh yeah. Allergies do that, man.
and it's
almost a whole
scary to
body
have
shutdown.
allergies in this day and age because everyone's like COVID, and I'm like allergies,
Right. Oh, I feel tired today. Oh, it's a COVID. Right.
And so it sucks. So I've been consuming way too many energy drinks.
Oh no.
Well, it's like I'm dead, but I got to go
Yeah.
put on a great performance for a 4-hour course, and I'm
Right.
dead.
and then go do martial arts.
So it's like I'm gonna go, hit a rock star, hit a monster.
Oh man,
Yeah,
you were trying so hard to stay off of those for a while.
Well, no, I don't try to stay off of them, but I try to wean down my caffeine tolerance.
Right.
Like if I got to go to a bang, or a
300.
rain, yeah,
Right.
I want it to work. Like if I got so much caffeine in my body all the time, where I drink a bang and it does nothing to me, I know that it's bad.
You've gone too far.
I've gone too far.
This
so
is too much.
So yeah, but I'm bouncing back. My energy's coming back up.
That's
So,
good, man.
Yeah,
Heck
yeah. So not a really good news report. But how about you? What's new with you?
I'm just finishing a huge commission that's been on my desk for way too long, painting a Gene Stealer Call Army for a buddy of mine. It's all Warhammer miniatures. It was 80 guys. It's taking me way too long to get it done, but I'm rounding a
For
corner.
those of you who have no idea what he's talking about, you're not alone.
So I'm right at the end. It was like 78.
What was the
to
guy's
80.
name?
His name's Steven.
No, the fancy name you said.
Oh, the Gene Stealer cult?
Gene Stealer cult?
Yeah.
Yeah. If
They're-
you guys don't know who that is,
It's okay.
it's okay.
Most people don't.
Most people
That's
know.
fine. It's Warhammer. But yeah, so he paid me to do a big commission for him.
What is
and-
Gene Stealer cult? Now I'm curious.
You want to know the Gene Stealers? They're a subsection of the Tyranids.
Okay.
There you go.
The Tyranids.
They're
And who are the Tyranids?
giant space bugs that devour everything.
Okay,
And so
I
the-
think I saw that movie.
I mean, yeah.
Was it the
No,
act?
there's no movie.
Oh,
It's-
there was a movie of space bugs.
It's very
Star-
very Starship Troopers.
Starship Troopers. That was it.
Yeah.
It was on TV the other day.
They
I
would make
watched it
jokes about
again.
it a lot. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very Starship Troopers.
Okay, cool.
But the Gene Stealers are like a crazy psychological cult where there's like these super manipulative bugs that'll go to a planet and start like messing with people's brains, and then they start infecting people. And then
Okay.
people start mutating into them.
We should do a podcast on the safety
on the
aspects
safety of Gene
that.
Stealer cult. That would be hilarious. I'd be super down. That would be a good time. But yeah, so I'm almost done with that.
That's
I'm
cool.
Super excited. I've been having my own backlog because I made myself a promise. I'm not gonna paint any of my own stuff until I'm done with my buddy's stuff.
Well, that's fair if you accept a commission.
Yep.
You know, you gotta.
So I've been waiting and working, and now I'm almost done. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna be done with this soon. So I'm pumped. Getting
All
there.
right.
I'm getting there.
Excellent. Well, today we're doing this part 3, and last time we left off with all the different hats a safety professional
There's
wears.
a lot you got to do as a safety person.
It's a
People don't
lot,
realize
you know.
that.
And
I mean, there's a ton.
what I want to jump into first on this one is the personality flux that you need to have.
Like a, I was gonna say it. You almost got to be a little schizophrenic.
Yeah, but not in the Diagnostic Statistics Manual 5,
Right.
you know, diagnostic sense of schizophrenia, but in the what the public views schizophrenia is, multiple personalities,
Yeah,
because that's
well,
actually different than
you
what
do. You have
schizophrenia is.
to
But
Be
you
able
got to
to
you
cycle through your hats.
yeah, not that you have to have the disorder, but you got to have the skill,
Yeah.
because when you deal with human beings, everybody's different.
Okay.
You know, some people, there's a ton of people on construction sites, ton of tough guys in the plant.
Right.
They will not even listen to you unless you're like yelling at them.
Yep. That's what they've grown to respect. They went into tradecraft at 18 years old. They've been yelled at since they were that age. You know, they're in their 50s. They got 30 years of getting dumped on. That's what they respect.
If you're not yelling at them, it's like they don't think it's serious.
No.
And that's
That or
weird,
they
and that's
don't think
hard
that-
for probably you. It's
Yeah.
hard for me because
I
I try
mean-
not to go Hulk.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't mind it. I'm like, all right, you're the kind of person I got to yell at, so I yell at them.
Yeah, and then there's other people out there that if you were to yell at them, they would just
That's it. Yep.
they would just close up on you. You would never get anything out of them. You'd be done forever.
Yep.
So, and then there's a lot of other personalities out there. And so you got to know how to reach people and treat everyone as an individual and learn them, learn how they respond, and then kind of flip the script if you talk to one and to the other. And you could, from the sidelines, look like you have multiple personality disorder.
Right.
Because I might be talking to somebody different, like,
Super.
hey, what are you doing? Come on, man.
Oh,
Us for real? Oh, come on. And then I turn to the other guy who's doing the same thing. I go, hey, buddy.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is this. What I need you doing is this. You got any questions? All
Right.
right, man. Fist bump, you know. And then from somebody looking at you, you look kind of wacko,
Right. A little bit.
but like you're actually good at your job.
Well, yeah, you've got to be able to temper that delivery. And I think the longer you've been the safety person at any place, you'll start realizing where it needs to be applied.
Yeah, I mean, it starts coming naturally. But other trades, they don't do that. And it affects their personal life.
How so?
So, like, you know, certain trades, nurses,
Yeah.
and I can speak on this.
You
Been
were
a nurse.
10 years,
I am a
man.
nurse. I'm still licensed. I still do occupational health nursing. Over 21 years. Cops,
Okay.
you know, when you're used to always being in that aggressive mode,
Oh yeah.
you
It's
know,
hard to
like
take
with
it off when you go
scumbags and
home.
dirtbags,
Yeah.
than military guys. You know, some military leaders run their family like their troops. You know,
Sure.
yeah, you know.
Yeah. So I could totally see that
So,
being the case.
but when you learn this side of it, and you learn to change it up for the different personalities, then you could take that skill home,
Right.
because that's still a good skill at home. You got one kid, you may have to be like, what? And another kid, you'd be like, sweetie, you know, because that's how they operate,
Yeah.
you know. And so that's good. But when you're always in one mode, it's bad for you on your profession. It translates. Your home life is not going well. Yeah. So that's something that we want to bring to your attention, is being able to almost switch your personalities depending on who you're dealing with, and that could help you get compliance.
For sure.
All right, so titles, man. This is something I get asked a lot. Hey, Aaron, we want to hire a safety person. What do we call them?
Yeah, what's the job title?
When we're like advertising this job, what do we say?
Yeah. We're gonna put it online. We need something for the name of
So
this.
let's just talk about some titles that we've heard. What do you got?
Say safety committee member or
Okay.
safety committee leader.
Okay, that is a safety title. Yeah,
Right.
that's it. That's all you got.
Oh, I thought we were gonna take turns.
Okay. Corporate safety director. That's a big dog right there.
Yeah, that'd be a high title, safety director.
Site safety director.
Right.
You
could
know,
be the-
I've been a site safety director, but I wasn't the corporate safety director.
right.
I was just the biggest, baddest, safetiest, dudest,
On the side.
evilest on the site.
Right.
But there was still someone over me over the corporate side of the company.
Right. And there might have even been a regional safety director between the two of
There
you.
could have been, yeah. So those are all ones. Safety, or your turn.
Well, safety manager.
Safety
It's the one
manager.
get thrown all the time. Safety manager.
And then there's another one that's safety coordinator.
Safety coordinator. I've heard safety coordinator several times.
So what's the difference? What's a safety coordinator?
They're the person that wears corduroys while they perform safety.
They will bust you if your outfit does not coordinate.
That's right.
If your
It must be
accessory piece does not tie your top and your bottom together, you're done.
That's it, man.
You're over.
Unsafe.
It's unsafe for my eyes to look at you because you look like you don't know how to dress.
That's right. And it's unsafe. Well, so your safety manager.
Well, no, we haven't actually talked about the safety coordinator yet.
Oh, I thought yes, what the difference was, right? Between manager and
Oh,
coordinator.
well, no, just what a coordinator is.
Well, I think like in their mind when they create that, I have a different opinion, I think, than what people who want that position to be called would have.
Okay. I'll
Right.
accept opinions. It's
So,
okay. It's a podcast.
When I hear safety coordinator, I think of somebody who safety is not their primary position. They're
Right.
just the person responsible for making sure that people attend or perform safety. Like they're literally just the safety scheduler.
Okay. Attend and perform, I don't know if I get behind that, but everything else for sure. They make sure safety gets completed. I like the scheduling.
Yeah.
The person who is the expert, they're making sure that person is coming and doing the trainings when they're supposed to, and
Right. So like attend, like they would be the ones sending emails to the company. Hey guys, safety training is this one.
yeah, they're
You know,
coordinating everything.
Yeah. And
They may not be performing it.
no, to make sure people perform, be like they'd be the person emailing instructors. Hey,
Yeah.
I need this safety
Yeah,
training this
yeah.
time, this day. Like
Yeah.
that would basically be that to me. That's the
Someone
safety
told 'em.
coordinator.
What to do, but they don't necessarily know why they're doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I know we got to bring in AJ to do a bloodborne pathogen class for us
Right.
every year.
So
I
they
don't
just-
know why. I can't teach it
Yeah.
myself, but I know on my little to-do list it says make sure we have our annual
Yeah.
bloodborne pathogen training completed.
Right.
And here's a guy you could call to do that.
So when I hear safety coordinator, that's what I think.
Yeah, well,
I have a feeling.
I
that
think that's the
when a-
accurate definition of that.
when a company lists safety coordinator, I think that they literally mean like safety manager. Like they want somebody
Well,
to manage the program. They
It's
don't
not
mean
the first time
coordinator.
non-safety people didn't understand safety world.
Right. Because think about how often you and I've run into people that wear multiple hats, and they are the
Eh,
HR. they're the
Anybody
safety,
off
they're
the street could say, I'm a safety coordinator. Oh,
Yeah.
you need a safety coordinator? I'm your man. I will actually coordinate your safety.
Yeah. I'll get it
for
put
sure.
together.
I won't do anything
No.
like myself, but I'll coordinate it that it gets done. Anybody could be a safety coordinator.
Yeah, but the company like actually wants this person to do safety,
Yeah.
but they appoint them.
So you
sorta-
don't want someone who could coordinate
Right.
it. You want someone to perform it.
Right,
Now, let's go with safety manager.
right. And
What do
that's what I think they mean when they want a safety coordinator. They want a safety manager, but
And-
they actually said coordinator.
To me, you don't even have a safety manager unless you're big time, because a safety manager is like the assistant of the safety director.
Right, they're the person who's basically your manager of the safety staff.
They're actually doing, well, in my opinion, a safety manager, like you got a director, right?
Right.
And they're like, it kind of goes backwards. Like a coordinator doesn't really know what they're doing; they just coordinate it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, a safety director is kind of in that role too, but they do know what they're doing. But
Yeah.
they're so high up now, they're just coordinating it,
Delegating.
making sure it gets done. And
Yeah.
that safety manager is the one who actually does all the work.
Right.
Kind of like a paralegal to a lawyer,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
a nurse to a doctor. Doctors don't do a whole lot.
It's
But
all
they
about
tell the nurses what to do, and they
Right.
do a ton. So a safety manager, if someone's like, yeah, I've been a safety manager for 5 years, if they were in that role as I understand it, I'm actually kind of digging that person as far as experience.
Yeah, they've been doing it.
Yeah, they've been doing
Yeah.
it, not just telling people to do it,
Right.
or looking at what someone else did and go, it's okay. We had a guy who was a corporate safety director who left that role and couldn't do much.
Yep. Did a lot of training for them, did a lot of assistance for them, and the more
I mean, super
were out
high
with
up,
us.
like
Yeah.
one of the sickest salaries in this town.
their job
for
title
doing
was
safety.
way over ours.
But they spent so many years at that role, like they probably never built a machine-specific lockout tagout procedure for 10 years.
Right.
It
It's
kind
been
of
so
lost in
long.
doing it. Probably, maybe they've written this policy, maybe not. Maybe they just reviewed them.
Yeah.
Done training themselves. Psh, nope, they got managers for that. So yeah, they were super high up and fancy, but kind of lost at the same time.
Right.
So yeah, that you got your directors, you got your managers, you got your coordinators,
Mm-hmm.
and then site safety director. That's pretty obvious.
Yep.
You're just big cheese on that site. What else you got for titles that we should talk about?
This is one I do hear often is a safety facilitator.
Yeah, that's kind of like a coordinator.
Right.
That's not really someone knows what's going on. They're just making sure it gets done.
Yep.
A
A lot of scheduling.
You know what a lot of safety people's title is, though? EHS.
Environmental health and safety.
Yeah, sometimes it's EHS coordinator.
Yeah.
But
and again,
yeah,
though, like they're not much of a coordinator. They're called the EHS coordinator, but that person's actually like the manager. They're actually doing it all.
yeah, or the director.
Right.
And the crazy thing about EHS, when you throw that E in there, better
That
watch
E.
out. If you're a safety person and they're hiring you to be a EHS manager,
Yeah.
you might be in an area that you're not good at. Now, go ahead, accept the challenge and get good.
Yeah, get good.
You might want to be honest with them and say, what's that E? Oh, that's environmental. You're going to make sure we're environmentally sound. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm a people safety guy. I make sure people
Right.
don't get hurt. I'm really not up on stormwater regs, EPA regs.
Here's all your hazmat training.
Dude,
Here's all your spill response.
I will train people to do all that
Right.
in the PPE, but I'm not up on the state's environmental quality, air quality regs.
Yeah, the impact, all those.
Yeah, so I'll take this job if you're offering it, but you should probably send me to some classes on that.
It'd be a good idea.
I could do the other stuff, the other half of that health and safety. Yeah, I got that down. But yeah, you got and a lot of people take these jobs that they assume it's safety.
Right. It's in the title.
We knew a guy, he did safety, and he got he needed a safety job.
Yep.
And so the one he found was PSM coordinator,
Oof.
process safety management, which is straight up safety. It's a full on OSHA reg.
Yep.
But at the same time, like, that's a super dialed in skill set.
Right.
Like, we know about PSM. We teach PSM. We're on plants and we deal with PSM.
Right.
You know, line break procedures and all this stuff, and cleaning and process, and, you know, like all these CFP, like we deal with it. But I wouldn't say that I'm a PSM expert.
Right. I'm
Like,
no
I
PSM
could take a
guru.
job at that and do well, but it would be a lot of book work, a lot of education.
Yep.
I probably want to go to a couple extra classes, and I could do it, but not like there'd be a learning curve.
For sure.
Even though I'm a safety guy,
Yeah.
to only do PSM and to do it well,
So, I mean, I guess our whole thing going in over all these titles is just to kind of warn you ahead of time. If you've been hired on or thinking about transitioning into safety, that title, it could be misleading.
yeah,
You might read it one way and be like, all right, this is it. And then you get there and find out it's something totally different.
you want to be training people on how not to die at work, and you got to spend most of your time battling with the EPA on your stormwater.
Yeah, not what you wanted to do.
Or you thought you were in a cush safety coordinator position. There was safety consultants out there you were just going to be scheduling in because that's what they advertised, safety coordinator. But like AJ was saying, they didn't even know the meaning of that word, and they actually wanted someone to do it. And so
Yep.
when you say, hey, yeah, I need to hire this guy in, they're like, what? That's what we hired you for. No, you hired me to coordinate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what
now we got
meant was,
now we got a problem.
right. Which actually, that's a really good segue into what we want to talk about next, though, is all of those duties associated with your job title.
Man, and
Let's try to keep it into under 4 hours.
yeah, I don't know, like, like just the you know, issuing PPE.
Right.
Safety people have to do that,
Yeah. You have to write and manage lockout tagout procedures.
right? Health and safety plan policies.
You have to go over and manage all of your hoisting and rigging inspections. Like, it's just,
You have to review annually the machine-specific lockout tagout policies.
right? And you have to keep track of all of your company's certifications to operate and make sure that your people don't lapse.
You have to build and or execute your company's safety training schedule.
Right? And then you have to make sure that your safety training is compliant with what your employees need. Do you have to up that safety training? Do you have to start including things in it that you weren't before?
You have to pull some stuff out that you were overdoing or no longer doing.
Right.
Somebody else built it before you and didn't really know what they were doing.
Now you're doing all this extra training. Are you doing all of your annual requireds? Like, I mean, it's just huge.
Investigate injuries,
Right.
manage injuries, investigate near misses, create a near miss form. If your company doesn't even have a near miss form,
Oh yeah. So I mean,
you
your
got to
record
make
keeping,
forms.
The
Oh,
sheer
record
amount of record
keeping,
keeping that
OSHA
you have to do
logs.
as a safety professional is gigantic.
You have to do job hazard analysis.
Oh yeah, JHAs, and then you're gonna have to do job site inspections, whether you're
You
general
gotta do
industry or
inspections.
construction.
Yeah.
Your report writing is gonna be something you're gonna have to get really, really good at.
You may have to do some industrial hygiene, some air monitoring, sound monitoring, light monitoring.
Right?
Stuff we've already talked about. You got to help out with bids. I mean, the duties of a safety person, like,
It's huge.
sometimes it's offensive to me when a owner of companies like, Psh, safety, that's easy, right? Like, you could do safety and quality and HR, like, because they just don't know the breadth of the safety, what's all in there,
Right.
you know?
Because it is. It's such a gigantic, huge part of every company, and it's only getting bigger. They're only writing more laws. They're only
Right.
making more rules, more requirements.
Designing fall protection systems,
Oh yeah.
you know, all the training,
Oh, and then yeah, making sure that every single thing you do gets training on it.
building a new hire safety orientation, performing the new hire safety orientation, doing the annual training,
Yeah.
doing the operator
Keeping
certifications,
all of
or
your
hiring it
policies.
out.
Just having company policies in order.
Yeah, they're just a lot. I mean, the duties go on and on and on. And so, you know, we should probably just,
Yeah.
I mean, because literally we could just talk about
Just do hours of
just a
all
daily
the
life
things
of
you
a
do?
safety person.
and no 2 days.
We
are the
should do
same.
that. That would be a fun one, maybe. A day in the life of a safety professional. Joe Schmo gets up in the morning.
Wow, I think we just do ourselves.
And then, well, we're not average because we're like consultants, you know, but like,
All right.
you know, a guy who's a safety director or manager or site safety for a construction company, or a safety manager, safety director for like a plant,
Mm-hmm.
you know, a day in the life of them, what all they got to do.
Okay.
It's not chilling at the
Yeah.
desk drinking coffee all day.
No. And if
Not
you
if
are,
you're good.
behind.
Yeah, you're not doing it right. It is busy, busy, busy.
Always.
Oh, well, we have to throw in just, let me just throw in one more task.
Okay.
And it's kind of 30 in one. Making sure your chemicalist inventory is up to date.
Oh my gosh.
making sure you have the most up-to-date safety data sheet for the exact chemical
Yep.
solutions that you have,
Right.
making sure that stays accessible, making sure the old chemicals you no longer use get pulled out and filed for 30 years.
Right.
I
You
mean,
gotta keep
just
those
your
sheets.
just your safety data sheet program, your your global harmonized system HAZCOM program, just running that by itself,
It's a full-time job.
making sure that everything that you have chemicals in is labeled, you
Right.
know, and like people are trained on the PPE to use those chemicals. Like just running your HAZCOM program by itself.
Right.
We have one client that has 1,000 chemicals.
I don't doubt it.
1,000 chemicals that employees are exposed to.
It's yeah.
They don't get to have one book.
No, it's like 10 books.
Yeah.
It's huge.
Yeah. So anyway, I mean, the duties of safety person are pretty big.
Now, being somebody who's done this for a long time and have trained so many safety professionals, do you have any advice on looking at that daunting task or that huge list of all those things? Because we're trying to help build safety people. We're pretty much, I mean, we're near the end. Do you have any little tidbits you want to give to somebody that is just starting out into safety? They're looking at, the entire elephant. How do I eat this one bite at a time?
Yeah, and I think we kind of touched on this on episode 1 is well, first of all, you got to know what you're doing. So you got to go get educated.
Yeah.
So if you're starting ground zero, at least go jumping in OSHA 30.
Okay.
I like
that.
jumping OSHA 30. Get 30 hours of OSHA reg training.
I mean, that's something.
Get a book too, an OSHA book, and read it.
Yeah.
Know what the regs are for what pertains to you, and then, like we said on the first episode, know what your company does,
Know
and then
what
you
you do.
and then you marry those two.
Yep.
Here's the regs. Here's what we do, and then find out what you're not doing.
Right.
You're gonna come up with a list of all your non-compliance.
It's probably going to be terrifying.
All your violations, and then prioritize off risk. So I prioritize risk is defined as probability and severity.
Right.
Put together, that's risk. So high severity injury, high probability, that's high risk.
That's going to be high risk.
So-
Somebody could get hurt doing this today. Let's fix it.
If I got 30 non-compliance issues, 30 OSHA violations, if you will, I'm going to prioritize those off risk. I'm also going to prioritize those off like how bad the OSHA citation would be too.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because risk is my top priority because I don't want people to die,
Yep.
but I also don't want the company to get busted super bad.
Right.
So I'm going to prioritize risk first and then like OSHA severity second. And just,
So working through that punch list.
and then you just kill it, man. Just one every day, one every week, cross something off that list.
Yep.
Baby step towards compliance.
Well, all that hard work, all those reps, that's going to train you. Like you will learn something from each one of those things as you accomplish them.
For sure.
You'll be a better safety person every day.
That's the real safety training.
Yeah.
You could go through a safety professional course, any master's program, any doctorate. I have my PhD in OSHAology. You could go through any
Osha'ology.
classroom training you want. But to me, the hands down best training you'll ever get is real life experience, actually having to handle that case, work that problem.
I agree.
I mastered regs because of the problem,
Yeah.
not sitting in the classroom.
Because you got to sit there and read it and go, okay.
Sitting in the classroom is a nice exposure to
apply
it.
this.
But yeah, when I really have to understand it because I'm really in the issue of it at that moment, now I have this motivation to understand it more than just like, oh, I should get this down. This is part of my job.
Right.
But now, so yeah, baby step towards compliance. Maybe it takes you 2-3 years to
Right.
get compliant. And
Yeah.
then once you're compliant, which means when OSHA comes in, they have an insanely hard time finding anything.
Right.
Okay. But that's not the end.
That's not the end.
That's
What's the goal?
That's the beginning.
The goal is what?
The goal is actual eliminating risk because there's, I'm not trying to diss on OSHA, but they're old and they move slow.
Yep.
It's state and federal government ran. It takes a long time to update a policy or regulation.
Well, and something we always like to say is the OSHA regs are the bare minimum. Like even if you're following all the OSHA regs, there's actually still a decent chance of danger.
Doesn't mean you're safe.
Right.
10 foot up on scaffolding, 30 feet up as a steel connector.
Right.
You know, nobody's doing that in the industry anymore.
So what we want to do is we want to get up to OSHA, but then we want to go further.
Yeah, we want to get into best practice.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't start off there, though.
No.
Don't start off. You will get fired. If you're like, hey,
It's hard to
boss,
just get
we
the OSHA
don't
regs.
have to do this, but this is what I'm going to do.
Right.
You're done.
Yeah.
You know, they only want to do the bare minimum. But once you got them to the bare minimum and they get used to that,
Yeah.
then they're not as opposed to baby stepping up a little higher.
Right. It's become a part of the culture.
Yeah.
This is what their safety is a part of what they do now. You've been
Yeah.
at it for years.
Yeah.
And so now going, hey, you know what? We'd actually be safer if instead of using this little rinky dink thing, everybody maybe upgraded to this nicer one. It's going to be a lot safer, more comfortable. Everybody's more likely to use it. And everybody might be like, oh, snap. You know what? We haven't had any injuries. Let's do it. Let's pump it up to the next level. And they might do that.
Remember those hats we were talking about in the last episode?
Yeah.
I just thought of a new one.
All right.
EMR reduction specialist.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's what I play a lot of.
Like, boss is going to be like, hey, lower our EMR. No.
And you're like, oh,
You're like,
sorry.
sure, 4 years. I could
gotta
have
give
it
you a
down if we
speech.
completely change our culture.
Yeah. That's a big one to change. My
Sure, in 4
goodness.
years, with a ton of hard work and everybody in the company on board, we can get this down.
Right.
I've had people say, we should do a whole episode on EMR reduction.
We probably should.
I can't write that down. My microphone's over my little sticky note on show ideas. But,
It's all right.
you know, it's just I've had owners say, what's it going to cost?
Yep.
I don't care. I'll pay you whatever amount of money to get our EMR down by next week. And I'm like, it's a 4-year deal, bud. Sorry.
Right.
Go ahead and give me $1 million and for fun, but I still can't get it down faster than 4 years.
Right. It takes 4 years.
Yeah.
It is a monster.
All right, so a lot of duties, kind of an overarching goals of safety. Let's finish up with just some gadget skills. Let's go gadget on Safety Pro.
Okay.
So name a gadget a safety professional should know how to run.
I'm gonna just steal them off.
Wait.
here, but
I didn't do my song.
That one was better.
AJ, what gadget should a safety professional know how to operate?
Well, Aaron, I would say safety professionals should understand a sound dosimeter.
Okay, what is that?
It is a device that will record sound over a period of time, and then you can actually analyze the sound recorded over that period of time, creating a sound average.
Is that Napoleon's brother?
No,
That sounded like
That's not
Napoleon's
bad, though,
brother. Yeah.
I was just trying to be a nerd.
Okay. Well, he was a nerd. I don't know if he was
Yes.
a dork or a nerd, but all right. So yeah, it's not a sound level meter.
Right.
It's a dosimeter.
Right.
So you can get a time weighted average of decibels.
Right.
Yeah. So you should know how to do sound dosimetry because that's going to be required for some people. If it's 85
Yeah.
in the general industry, you got to kick in your hearing conservation program and offer hearing protection.
Yep.
If the TWA time weighted average you find out is 90, you got to mandate hearing protection
hearing
only after you actually try to reduce it with engineering and work practice controls.
You tell me I can't just issue PPE?
No.
Oh man.
So, yeah, I'd say a sound level. What other kind of dosimeters while we're on dosimeters?
You've got light dosimeters that will actually tell you the amount.
I'm not
of
aware of a light dosimeter. A light meter.
light meter.
Your time weighted average of light.
I think you could do it. I mean, I don't know if that would work out well. Yeah.
But you definitely need to know how to, because there's OSHA regs in the construction industry
Yeah.
on how much illumination or foot candles you need in an infirmary, a warehouse, a work area,
In order
a
to
classroom.
operate a forklift without lights.
You could actually get busted by OSHA for not having enough light.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if you had a light meter and you knew how to run it. And you could whip it out and go, oh man, we need more light.
Yeah. We are under the 2 lumens required to
I
operate
just
this
saved
forklift.
us an OSHA violation because I know how to run this gadget.
Now, something
But
I-
beyond that, you're
yeah.
saving injuries. If it's too dark to work, you're
You shouldn't be
you're
working.
injury prone. Slips, trips, and falls, crashes.
we do use 4-gas meters often.
Yeah, for sure. That's a gadget.
Yeah. We
And,
do.
and along with running it
Right.
is calibrating it.
Calibrating your 4-gas meter.
I remember the first time I had a calibrated 4-gas. I did it wrong 100 times till I got it right. reading the dumb directions. Push this button, click this button, turn this on.
Open this valve.
I just
Yeah,
it just
you
took
gotta
me a
have it.
long time to figure it out. No one taught me. I'm just reading the dumb directions, trying to get it done.
You gotta have it open and run correctly in the right time,
Yeah,
and the room gets stinky as
yeah.
the gas comes out.
So, and then just knowing how to run that thing. I see a lot of people not know how. Pet peeve
Yeah,
is when you dip the meter in the confined space.
the whole meter.
Yeah, all the time. They
Is-
put there's a D-ring on most meters.
Yeah.
They tie a rope to that, and they lower the meter in the confined space.
Ah, well, that's so that they can't see the meter while it's in there. That's why.
I was like, no, you get a hose. You keep that $2,500 meter in your hand,
Right?
and you dip the hose in the dangerous place.
I like dangling things that are more expensive than some cars that I've owned
No,
inside the confined
it's a
space.
pet peeve. So you should know how to run one of those, and then you got to know how to do it slow enough to get the
Right.
air in every pocket and layer. Like
Actually measure the air.
that's an
density.
important gadget to get. That's a life
sure.
and death gadget right there.
Oh yeah, heck yeah.
Light meter. You could save yourself an OSHA violation, maybe some slip, trip, and fall injuries. But if you don't know how to run your four-gas meter, if you're
Right.
not calibrating it, if you're not testing the air in the space adequately,
Yep.
that's bad. All right, what else you got? I had to run a nautical meter one time.
A nautical meter.
I don't know the official name right off the top of my head, but it was a wind meter.
Oh, okay. So
Anemometer? No.
Measured wind speed in knots.
In knots.
Neat.
Because I had to decide if the cranes could run as the safety guy, if it was safe
Ooh.
enough. Because OSHA has regs on mile per hour rating for cranes.
Did you-
Also for
yeah.
boom lifts, the manufacturers,
Right.
28 miles per hour is the most common one.
28.
So
28. There's a.
so I had this
awesome,
cool gadget that they just threw at me. They didn't teach me how to run it. Well, actually, I think the guy turned it on and put it in the air, and
Here's how you do it.
it wasn't a very great tutorial.
Right. He didn't really teach you.
No, but yet then I'm responsible for running this, getting an accurate, mile per hour rating, and then telling the cranes if it's safe to run.
Right.
So it'd be good if you had,
I mean,
those
it all just ties back into that whole idea of knowing what your company requires, knowing what you need, and then spending the time with that gadget or that piece of equipment and learning how to use it.
Yeah, get as much training as you can on it
Yeah,
for sure.
heck yeah.
All right, outlet tester.
Oh, fork. I got plenty of forks. Goes right in the outlet. If it shocks you, outlet's live.
You don't use your tongue.
No, I can't get it to do anything. So I just take a fork right in the outlet. If it shocks me, outlet's good.
Right.
Doesn't shock me, outlet's bad.
Well, unfortunately, AJ, this is not an OSHA-approved method of determining the outlet if it's wired and grounded correctly. You should get an outlet tester.
yeah,
It's an actual
Now,
device
those are
that
a
you
lot-
plug in,
yeah.
and it's got 3 lights on it.
they're a lot more dummy proof. Actual outlet testers are pretty good if you know how to
And
use them. You just
If you
turn
can
it
still
on.
read the sticker on it, it tells you, if left and right light are on, it means this. If left and middle light are on, it means this.
Nice.
If only middle lights on, it means this.
Right,
And you can see if stuff's reverse polarity,
right. Somebody wired it wrong.
not grounded. That's safety stuff.
That's good though.
Yeah.
Like you should know those things.
All right, what else you got for gadgets?
Well, I mean, I guess it's kind of a gadget. We all use it. Our smartphones,
Yeah, because there's an app for that.
right, for everything.
Yeah, these days. I would never use them for legal or for 100% safety stuff.
Right. But if I was using like a noise meter app, and it's not going to be perfect, but if that thing starts bumping 85, 90,
Oh,
now,
yeah.
now I'm going, you know what?
Yeah.
I need to go get official equipment
Yeah.
to find out.
I've had the sound meter apps, and there's a lot of them out there.
There's a lot.
And I've had the light meter apps on my phone.
Exactly. Because it's not going to tell you whether you need to take it to court, but it is going to tell you, your
Yeah, you
ballpark
should
in there.
maybe get out your fancy one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're like a good, quick and dirty
Yeah, exactly.
tool.
I mean, if you're not close, if you're like, it's kind of noisy.
But if you're going with smartphone apps,
Yeah.
we're talking Wiser.
Oh, yeah, okay. So you're going into
So
the,
like chemical spill,
Yeah.
I could, pull up emergency response guidebook. I could tell how far to evacuate people.
there's a really cool DOT placard reader.
Yep.
I
That'd
like
be
that
cool.
one. That one's great.
I've annoyed my wife with that many times on road trips.
Yeah, you drive by something. What is that? That's anhydrous ammonia. We could all die.
We
Very cool.
We should pass that. Pass it now.
Yeah.
Pass it now.
seize the gap.
Don't you know that's straight up, flammable liquid?
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, apps are endless.
Yeah.
But the air monitor, I think, is a gadget, if you will, that safety professional going to need to know how to be exposed to. If they're hiring someone to do it, cool. But some of these people that put on these air monitoring dosimeters,
Right.
they don't always stay with the person,
No.
and that person always, frequently, messes it up somehow.
Yeah, they'll
they
catch
knock
the tube on
yeah,
something.
and so you should have
unplug
some
it.
basic understanding how they
Yeah.
work. And you see the guy, he's got the inlet on his belt where it should be up on his shoulder by his mouth. Like,
Right.
hey, put that back up there. Like,
Or they just don't like it, so the moment the guy walks away, they just take it off
Yeah,
and put it down.
yeah.
And you're like, no, we need that.
yeah, so you should have a basic understanding, or if you're actually doing it yourself, you should have a hardcore understanding. But
yeah.
there's a lot of gadgets out there.
Yeah, to any gadget you're using, for sure.
Let's end with voltmeter. Do you think that's a safety gadget?
A voltmeter?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. There's a lot that goes back into those. It's something I think everybody should know how to use, though. Check out there's a lot you actually do with a voltmeter, but
I've been in plants where it's a plant rule for lockout tagout,
you got
for
a
the
voltmeter
tryout.
check it.
for the equipment isolation verification phase, the tryout phase.
Mhm.
When you got everything shut down, they actually want you to bust that out, put it on a certain place a certain way, and
Mhm.
verify that it's dead as an
That's-
extra non-OSHA required step. Site rule. Now, if
good
I
rule.
go to work for that company and I'm required to do that,
Yeah.
and I don't even know what that thing is, that could be a problem.
They're not that bad, though. They're pretty easy to train on. But again,
But
one of
it's a
those
little
things where-
scary if you don't do it right. I mean, you're playing with electricity, so you should super be trained on that.
I suppose.
Yeah. All right. So AJ is an evil safety guy. You're supposed to definitely. You're
Well,
definitely.
I mean, I've used
You're-
voltmeters for a long time, and it's like
everybody
you can
did
touch-
without proper training, but
You can touch high voltage with those, and it'll tell you.
what if the insulated part of it is damaged and you weren't trained to inspect it?
Well, then you shouldn't be using something you weren't trained on.
Well, that's what I'm getting at. There is risk on those, so training is always good.
Training is good.
All right, guys. Well, I think we could put this becoming a safety professional rest. This is the
Yeah.
third episode, number 35 on this, and we hope you guys got something out of this that'll help you in
Heck
your
yeah.
safety career. And for AJ Hanscom and Aaron Icino signing off, saying stay safe out there.